Hey everybody, DJ Lou here. Is it finally time to upgrade to a modern MacBook Pro? Let's talk about the pros and cons. Alright everybody, before we start the video, please navigate down, hit that subscribe button, make sure you ding that notification bell as well. Also make sure to like the video, and please, if you want to support the channel, head over to my Patreon page and subscribe. So there's still a ton of DJs out there that are using their older MacBook Pros to gig with, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this as long as it's performing as you expect, as long as you trust the software that you're using, whether it's old Scratch Live, Serato DJ Pro now, Virtual DJ, Tractor, whatever it happens to be. As long as you have your own personal confidence that this is working for you, then there is no reason to switch. I'm not going to be one of those people out there to say, oh yeah, you have to stay modern and all that. But there are some pros and cons, sticking with the old and actually also going with the new. Now, first off, sticking with the old, this is going to start becoming a problem with things like security updates, with just maintaining something working and functioning. Because naturally, as time goes on, there is just going to be some wear and tear that's going to happen. And especially if you have a MacBook Pro and you try to bring it to a repair shop, the older it is, it's going to be more expensive to fix. They're going to have less access for parts, and it will just come a time where it may just not be worth it to continue to stick around with those older models. Now, there's definitely some people who are still sticking with quote-unquote new old models. They'll refurb the old ones. People with good eyes are finding, like old 2011 models that have, the caddies still in there from CDs. You expand hard drives on it. There's still some good deals on it, but now with the performance gap really starting to kind of widen, because now you're talking 7, 8, 9-year, 10-year-old models that are out there now, is just now starting to become the time where it's time for something new for a lot of people. So I actually own two MacBook Pros. I actually have this one over here to my side. This is my daily driver. This is a late 2018 model with 16 gigs of memory. It has a 512 gig SSD, and actually one of the fastest SSDs that's out there. It's ridiculously fast. It has a Vega 20 graphics card on it, because that's what I also do my Final Cut Pro editing on. And it's just a really solid and really quick machine. To be honest, that's all I need really for video. It actually crunches my 1080 video without any hassle. And even when I was trying to edit 4K, it was actually doing a very good job working with it. Naturally, I could beef up with an even more newer machine, a Mac Pro, or even a newer iMac with like 32 gigs of memory on it. But to be honest, this has actually been very solid. And for my gig laptop, I have this mid-2018 MacBook Pro. I actually bought this refurbished at a nice reduced cost. This actually has 16 gigs of memory, has a 256 gig SSD, which helps with some of the cost savings on it. And I didn't have an external video card or anything on it, because I actually didn't need it for this specific model. Now, yes, these are the infamous, some of the butterfly keys suck on them, and I just haven't experienced them with mine. And to be honest, the failure rate for those, while it is high for the industry, still good chances are that if you buy one, you're not going to run into one with a problem. So what ultimately made me switch? So I originally had both a mid-2013 and a mid-2015 model, both 13 inches, and they're really good, they're really solid. But I was starting to look at Virtual DJ, and to be honest, Virtual DJ does not perform nearly as well in the 13-inch for the screen real estate that it uses. So it was one of my reasonings to push it. I knew that the 15s, it would be a little bit more cumbersome to do that. But to be honest, once I bought the 15s, it became I love the extra screen real estate, especially for editing video. I'm not in front of my nice monitor here. Those kinds of things. Also knowing that processor-wise, I was going to get much better performance for working in video and just my everyday stuff. I just felt it was necessary to change over. In addition, looking at external hard drives, a lot of the drives now, especially the SSDs, were going to the new USB-C connectors. So knowing that, I wanted to think of going to something native. I wanted something super quick and all that. And that ultimately just made me decide, I could do this all in a USB-C only environment. Now, there are some associated costs with going for something like that. Right behind me, I actually have one of two hubs that I use to connect my SD cards, other USB drives and all that. I'd rather the hub than having a bunch of dongles. I do have a couple dongles in my bag for doing stuff on site, but ultimately I have these hubs, and I'll actually link the product number and description below. But I use those because I can single cable everything into this, and that's actually one of the beauties of this, is you can actually use any port to power it up, and everything is over just one cable. Now, I do miss the MagSafe power cables. That was a nice thing behind it, but this is the trend now. The trend is to trying to go to this single interface, this being USB-C, or in Apple's case, it's a Thunderbolt connector as well. And this is just something that just started to finally make sense. There were some years that had come out that product started to mature. There was more availability of stuff out now. So for me, last year was the deciding factor to switch over. So is it time to switch? I would dare say that people who are running on H infrastructure, if your pain point is starting to get there, where you're starting to really think of equipment starting to fail or anything like that, you should probably switch. And to be honest, even if you're not thinking about it, maybe these are things that you should start thinking about, because honestly, do you want your equipment to fail in the most critical environment? Most people, I would think, would say no. Some people are stubborn. They've gotten comfortable with their setup, and I can honestly appreciate that, and I can totally understand. But in the same token, especially if you're a wedding DJ like myself, we are in an industry where we don't get a second chance. So you want to minimize those risks. You want to minimize the potential points of failure if possible, and to be honest, older equipment becomes one of those points of failure. So there's my video on the MacBook Pro. I hope you liked it, and if so, hit that thumbs up, hit subscribe below, head over to my Patreon page, and support the channel if possible. And naturally, if you like videos like this, make sure to check out my other 4DJs only and everything else that happens to be on this channel. Stay tuned for more.